Hello, this is your fishing report for Upper Lake of the Ozarks, the river section for March 10th, 2016. Since we talked last week in our last report, the lake has really changed upriver. The water has cleared up a little bit, but because of the forecasted heavy rain and possible flooding in the area, the Ameren Electric people at Bagnell Dam have decided to drop the lake 1.5 to 2 feet. And on Lake of the Ozarks, when you get a drop of that much, that really does affect the fishing. And so the fishing yesterday wasn't very good. It was fair at best. I expect the fishing to pick up as the fish get used to the low water level and they kind of reposition themselves. But I think the dropping of the lake really affected the fish and what we were doing yesterday. The water temperature's in the low 50s. I think we had water temperatures of 53 going up to 55 degrees in the afternoon. It was very, very calm yesterday. Forecasted rain, stayed overcast and cloudy the whole day. We still did manage to catch a few fish, but not as many as we like to for this time of year. Right now the fish, with the water being in the mid-50s, are definitely starting to move towards those spawning areas. They're not spawning yet. It's probably going to be a little bit still before they spawn, but they're starting to think about it and move towards those spawning areas. So let me show you some lures that you can use when you get to these areas. One of the lures we were using yesterday was just your standard jig. This is a Crocagator zapper jig with a little craw trailer on the end of it. You know, about any jig you can use. I like the Crocagator products. This jig goes through brush really, really well. You can pitch the jig easily in behind and underneath the docks. So this is a good bait to fish on those channel banks and the areas just outside the spawning areas. The bait we caught most of our fish on yesterday was a Crocagator swamp bug. And we fished this on a stand-up shaky jig head. One I've used also is Crocagator. It has a little football head jig, so it comes through the rocks very, very easily. And we had, you know, most of the bites we had yesterday came on that little bait right there, so that's a good bait. When they do start going to the spawning areas, you can continue to fish this bait, but I usually switch up and go on the same type shaky heads to a zoom. This is a zoom trick worm, so any type of a straight tail worm. You can throw a variety of baits on these shaky heads when the fish get around spawning areas. This is just something I like to throw. It's skinny, so the hook doesn't have to go very far to get through the plastic to get into the fish's mouth. If you use something that's a lot fatter, you know, the hook's going to have to go farther through the bait to get to the fish's mouth. And sometimes when these fish get in the spawning areas, they don't really just pick the bait up and eat it. They're just kind of nipping at it, bumping it, maybe moving it sometimes. They may even pick it up, swim a few feet, and then drop it. So I like a skinnier type worm so that when I feel any kind of pressure, I can just pop them, and the little wire hook will go through this bait very easily and in through the roof of the fish's mouth. Once the water gets to the mid-50s, they fish in. Sometimes we'll get off the jerk bait bite, and then you can start going to the spinner bait. This is a War Eagle spinner bait. It's got like a number 6 willow leaf blade on the end of it. If the water's dirtier, you can use a Colorado blade. This bait is white and chartreuse. I just kind of go with the standard white and chartreuse colors. I don't get anything elaborate on the spinner bait. But you can fish this. With the lake being down, there's a lot of shallow logs and wood and sticks exposed in the first 2 to 3 feet of the bank. You can throw this spinner bait, kind of wake it, kind of crank the bait up to the log, wake it over the top of the log, and then when you get over the top of the log, just kind of kill it and just let the bait kind of flutter and fall. That's usually when you're going to get your bites, is when that bait comes over that log or stick, and then you let it and you kill it and let it fall. Because that fish is usually sitting right on that stick, and he'll watch that bait come. When that thing falls, he'll jump out and grab it most likely. And then mid-50s, it's buzzbait time. A lot of people don't believe that you can catch fish on a topwater bait early in the spring here in March in the mid-50s, but you can. And this is a good bait to throw. It's a head knocker buzz bait, also made by Crocagator. What's nice about this buzz bait is because of the flat head design, this bait will plane or get up on top easier, and you can keep it on the top of the surface easier and crank a lot slower, which I think is very, very important in springtime fishing. I will say this: some of the biggest fish you can catch all year can be this time of year on a buzz bait. And a lot of your big buzzbait fish can come this time of year and in April, and then after the fish are spawning in May into June, when they're coming back off those spawning beds. So that's the baits that we're primarily using right now. You can also use square bill crankbaits. You can start pitching creature baits and stuff like that. Brush hogs, and I even know people that just regular Texas rig little crawworms or crawdads, and fish them like that. So hopefully Ameren will raise the lake level here soon. There's a lot of people wanting to get on the water. The problem with fishing upriver is there's not very many ramps that are accessible right now because the water is low. In fact, there's some places you go into, people who live on the lake are itching to go fishing, but they cannot get their boat off their boat lift and get out and go. So it's kind of a frustrating time for a lot of people. But the advantage of having the lake so low right now is it does shrink the lake. It condenses fish into smaller areas. And I think once they get the lake stabilized here and it starts on the rise a little bit, you're going to see more fish move up into towards these spawning areas, and the bite should improve. So until next report, good fishing, good luck, be careful, always wear your life jacket, and have fun. Thank you.